These people are completely demonic, right? So one day, we don't even know what a woman is. It's all about non-binary trans rights. And then the next day, the Republicans want to control women's bodies. What is up? My name is Eric. This channel is called Report and Opine. I am back. This, of course, is the epicenter for all of your current and captivating coastal elite chaos. So please hit that subscribe button, like the video, ring the notification bell, leave a comment or two, share this with a friend. Let's go. All right, first up in the lightning round, MTA installs barriers at Harlem subway station to protect conductors from being attacked. And they put a couple cones up on the platform, but I'm wondering who they're protecting them from in Harlem. Nothing coming to mind. I guess it's probably just a gentrifying colonizer tech bro commuting to his 2 days a week in the office job down in Chelsea or Tribeca. The migrants continue their hostile takeover. More than 70 Senegalese migrants found living in a Queens basement. So gone are the days of a couple Mexicans crossing the border, man, and staying under the radar and working in a kitchen. Nope. Now they're coming from all over the world. They're robbing people, they're beating up cops, and they're living in the basement. Then PlayStation cancels multiple games amid massive job cuts. And I don't really care about this story because I don't play video games, which I guess is a sign that everything's going just fine. PlayStation, Sony is probably run by Republicans anyways. Then there's a strike on tap at the largest U.S. brewer. So more Bidenomics in action. The workers at Anheuser-Busch who survived the Dylan Mulvaney fiasco now have the power, and they're threatening to go on strike. Lastly, Cal State University system deals with declining enrollment numbers, and this is absolutely sensational news because, of course, that Cal State system is a huge part of the weirdo scam that the government is running in California. And of course, they are also responsible for brainwashing millions of kids across California. This one's crazy. This kid is going to claim that Candace Owens gets schooled on her transphobia and that Transformers have been around for such a long time, hundreds, thousands of years. Okay, you want me to believe that some Indian tribe way back in the day was lopping their own junk off? Sure, but it subsided. I'd say between, 1900 and 2011, it wasn't really happening until Twitter showed up and started spreading this terrible, destructive ideology all over the place, like poison ivy.
So have y'all seen this viral clip of Candace Owens getting owned at one of her debates? Because it illustrates how the violent and hateful transphobia from conservatives is both
violent and hateful. This is crazy. And what's sad here is I think this kid actually believes this. He's not an arm. He's not a cog in the machine. He truly believes this because he's been brainwashed. And this is also a perfect example of how it has nothing to do with race, right? We constantly hear about, systemic racism and climate racism, but it's obviously not about that. It is about the content of people's character and their willingness to kneel to the mob and pretend that something's completely irrational makes total sense and has been around for hundreds of years.
Off of ignorance, white supremacy, and historical revisionism.
Okay. Candace, we know now that Candace and Larry Elder and B. Tatum and the twins, they're all white supremacists. It's crazy.
But I think can you explain to me what Two-Spirit is in the history?
I'm telling you that not only in one Native American tribe, but in multiple tribes, there were dozens of terms that referred to people that would now be considered trans, and that was hundreds of years ago. So I'm just wondering why you think that people are only trans now because...
This is crazy. So on this timeline, we have a college-age white woman talking down to a 8-month pregnant Candace Owens, but by their own rules, that should not work. But I guess the Transformer card is the ace of the victimhood deck, right? So yeah, black, Asian, Latino, whatever, that's all good. But as soon as you get the Transformer card, you're golden. You can say whatever it is you want, even to a black woman.
the media is telling them to be.
Well, I told you, because of the proliferation. So you can't just go from having 0% to suddenly 25%
Right, but what
of
I'm
people.
saying is that these people were around
Yeah.
for thousands of years.
Well, what you're saying is that some Native American tribes had people that would be considered trans today,
People that
something that we
were
can't fact check
trans.
because they're dead.
It's
right?
historical knowledge.
It's historical
documented.
knowledge.
It's historical knowledge. I said it, therefore it's true. She's taking her cues from the political regime, where no matter what they say, all that matters is that they say it. That's all that needs to happen for it to be true.
That there were trans Native Americans.
Yes.
I really don't think that's historical knowledge. But here's what I'll
look it up
answer.
then.
I don't think that there were
Well, I'm telling you
trans
that
Native
there were,
Americans.
so if you
Oh,
could
I'm telling you that there were. Like, I said it, so you have to believe it. I am a white libtard.
educate yourself a little more, you would know that.
okay.
As well.
I will educate myself.
And to be clear, Candace Owens is completely wrong. Two-spirit refers to individuals who neither identified as men nor women since pre-colonial times in North America.
Oh yeah, makes sense. So I'm gonna green screen my message here in front of a black and white photo of an old carbon-based life form, which is totally proof that in pre-colonial times there were non-binary people. It's just, this is so off the plot, it's wild.
And their existence is very well documented. On top of that, Native Americans are not all dead, and many today identify as two-spirit. Now, it's important to know that conservatism thrives on rhetorical attacks against aspects of society that are deemed new or recent.
Conservatism thrives on rhetorical attacks. Meanwhile, they're the ones calling everybody a racist, a bigot, a transphobe. I mean, all of this stuff. The projection is very real with these people.
And also romanticizes aspects of society that are older or more traditional. As a clear example, Make America Great Again was the slogan for both Donald Trump and Ronald Reagan because it romanticizes the idea of upholding a set of traditional values from the past. But just to be clear, there's no inherent logic to this worldview, which is why
There's no logic to this. No, like, you just made that up.
conservatives were the champions of conserving things like slavery and Jim Crow. But that being said, it's clear that the same tactic is being used by conservatives to demonize queer and specifically trans people by attaching trans identity to some sort of recent media agenda or new social contagion. This hateful line of
Absolutely. That's exactly what's happening. It doesn't take a conservative to realize that. It's just pure common sense. But they want you to throw all of that out the window and just believe what I say. I don't have to back it up. You should look it up yourself.
thinking is what has exacerbated discrimination against LGBTQ plus individuals and drove the brutal assault of a Native American teenager named Next Benedict.
And here we go. They're going to delve into they, them, zem, zer is going to delve into a story that has been proven false, and we'll get there in just a little bit. But the story that, a transformer child was bullied and lost their life, they, them, zem, zer's life, because of an event in the bathroom. And then it only takes 48 hours for them to say, oh no, that didn't really happen, and then move on.
Which led to their death. And may Next Benedict rest in power. But perhaps the worst irony behind all of this is that it's based on historical revisionism and lies. Even when engaging with a conservative worldview, it's clear that many homophobic and transphobic people are completely ignorant of the history of these identities. People that would now be considered trans or queer have existed across the world and throughout.
What is even queer? They're never going to explain what is queer. It's not gay, it's not lesbian, it's not bisexual. Queer, it's all completely made up, but they are going to project this completely backwards ideology on everybody and demonize, as they like to say, anybody who lives in reality. This is enough of this guy. And hear from ABC News a little bit more about Next, where they're going to prop up the narrative, but then at the end of the video, they're going to tell you, well, we don't really know what happened. But the best part here is in the caption. They say, at Owasso High School in Oklahoma, where non-binary student Next Benedict got in a fight with several students the day before they passed. Students walked out Monday in protest of bullying and in support of the school's to LGBTQ community. So they've obviously added some more letters on here, and they're trying to pretend that this passing is linked to bullying. But even they have to, at the end, under the presumption that nobody's going to watch this or click the click the link in bio or read the entire article, they say, yeah, we don't really know what happened.
Everybody deserves to be who they are, and it's not getting any better, and now Next is dead, and there's not going to be any justice for Next if we...
Every single time, just do as we say, obey, or somebody dies.
Don't do something about it.
Okay, wait. Students from an Oklahoma high school staged a walkout Monday after non-binary teen died one day after a fight with 3 female students. Oh, so we don't even know what a female is. We don't know what a woman is. But this non-binary teen, who I guess was probably a boy who stopped short of becoming a girl, and the girls were like, no, we're not having that. And it still has nothing to do with this carbon-based life form's passing. And for the record, it's also kind of weird that they want you to think that it was boys who bullied this kid, which still had nothing to do with the tragic passing of this non-binary person.
I was talking with my friends, they were talking with their friends, and we were laughing, and they had said something like, why do they laugh like that? And they were talking about us in front of us.
So yeah, here's the person, I guess, in a hospital bed telling a story which clearly lets us know that they weren't beat into a paste, into oblivion, into a pulp by 3 girls in a bathroom.
And so I went up there and I poured water on them.
On the day of the incident, Next Benedict, 16, told a school resource officer that the students were making fun of the way they and their friends dressed and laughed. Yeah, it's classic bullying. Been there.
And then all 3 of them came at me.
Benedict said they didn't know the names of the Owasso high school students, but that the group had been antagonizing them in the days leading up to the incident. Yeah, so this person, this carbon-based life form, prancing around, pretending to be somewhere between a boy and a girl. I'm sure they were doing nothing wrong, nothing annoying, not being extra, not being too much. It was all the fault of those 3 girls.
Our children are scared to death to go to school every day, and something has to stop.
Yeah, maybe you should just stop with the weirdo, extreme, radical gender agenda. Owasso Public Schools issued a statement to ABC News last week that safety is their top priority, and they are committed to fostering a safe and inclusive environment. So we put up a flag, and now they've added like a circle star in the middle. That's a brand new one. I haven't seen that. And we know that ABC News, obviously they're completely compromised. They made an entire video about it. But for them to add this weird 2SLBDT, what about the IA at the end? This is ridiculous. We're supposed to jump through these hoops. It's real whack-a-mole out there. The goalposts are constantly moving. It's disgusting.
This is for rights of our children to live and be who they are and be safe, whether they're indigenous.
It means nothing. Rights of our children to be who they are and be safe. It absolutely means nothing.
Whether they're queer or straight, everybody has the right to follow their own path.
Authorities are awaiting the full results of the autopsy and toxicology reports before the state's medical examiner's office issues a cause of death. So we just saw the weirdo little activist kid who called out Candace Owens, saying that transphobia and bigotry was the reason for this carbon-based life form's passing. But even ABC, who is completely compromised and up front and center wants you to believe that it was because of bullying, has to sneak in at the end. That wasn't really it. We're not sure why. Bye. This one is completely insane as well. I mean, these people are on an absolute tear. They have gone so far off the deep end. Nothing makes sense anymore, which is why you can't have a rational conversation with any of these people, because they want you to believe completely irrational things. But now this politics says planning travel to Texas while pregnant, the things pregnant people have to worry about when visiting conservative-run states. And this woman is going to tell a story about how she has to plan her trip to visit family in Texas around the idea that she might have to get rid of her kid, but it's all fake anyways. It's just a little scaremongering tactic that I guess has worked because she's made it on Now This, and here I am talking about it.
So I'm pregnant, and what is so wild to me is that in a few weeks we're going to Texas to visit family. I live in a pretty liberal state that allows a life-saving abortion at any point. Texas.
A life-saving abortion at any point. So at 8.5 months, your life is in danger. So you're going to have to bend that. It doesn't make any sense.
This does not. Texas does not allow abortion. Their law does state that you can get a life-saving abortion for certain reasons, but there have been a lot of stories of people who've been turned down.
Okay. So Texas doesn't allow it, but in the case, if the mother's life is in danger, they would, but people have been turned down because probably their life wasn't actually in danger. They were just claiming that and trying to use abortion as birth control. So even as she is pretending that Texas is so scary, she has to admit, well, they would let me do it if I wanted to do it for the reason I'm claiming I would have to do it. It would never just be because it's inconvenient to me. Every single time there's so many layers to this madness.
And not able to get care. So we had to plan, what would we do if I needed an abortion? Well,
I wouldn't be able to get care if I was in Texas, because in Texas they won't let me just bend the baby. I mean, they won't provide care. It's the same thing with gender affirming care. It's all completely despicable, and I guess there's still some people out there buying this, right? If you want to get abortion, just get one. Don't pretend it's about life-saving care. It's the same thing with, bear with me here, but with medical cannabis. There was a point in time in California where you just would call up the doctor and say, "Doc, I can't sleep," or "Doc, I had a football injury in high school. I need a card." It's like, dude, if you want to get high, just say you want to get high. Like, if you want to kill your baby, just say you want to kill your baby. Don't pretend like it's because you're going to die if you don't.
While we're there. And we figured out we'd probably have time to drive somewhere else or fly somewhere else. And if not, hopefully it would qualify and I could get the medical care that I needed there. But it just blows my mind that I live in a country where medical care is not guaranteed. And that,
yeah, of course, medical care is not guaranteed. But you are trying to pretend that, I mean, first of all, yes. Medical care is not guaranteed. But you're claiming that medical care is just abortion, and you're making up this whole story that you're going to Texas while you're pregnant, but it literally doesn't matter because you want to have the baby anyways. But if you got to Texas and decided you didn't want it, they wouldn't let you get rid of it, and that's what you're scared of, I guess. And we have to carve out exceptions for pregnant people because men can get pregnant, but it's also a woman's right to choose, and Texas is super scary, and This is what the establishment is banking on now, is scaring the living daylights out of people with completely fake stories that if you vote for Donald Trump, I guess, then he won't let you kill your baby, and it's a woman's right to choose, and it's a clump of cells, and men can have babies. Here in more abortion theatrics, Gavin Newsom, of course, is running a scaremongering ad in Tennessee for some reason. It's totally because he's not running for president, but he wants you to know that in Tennessee, you can't travel to bend your baby. And so first the abortion stuff is just through the roof. But we have that lady completely making up a story that doesn't even have a point, right? Like, I'm traveling through Texas while I'm pregnant, so we have to plan to leave just in case I want to get rid of the baby while we're there. And then you have guys like Gavin Newsom, who is laying the propaganda on so thick. Joe Biden is such a stand-up, successful man of character. And here's a girl chained to a bed because she wants to get an abortion, but they're going to force her to have the baby. It's so scary. A greaseball bang your wife, Gavin Newsom, I'm sure loves abortion.
Help!
The political ad titled Hostage depicts a teenage girl handcuffed in a hospital bed with a woman narrating her plight.
Trump Republicans want to criminalize young women who travel to receive the reproductive care they need.
Governor Newsom defended the ad campaign's messaging on Meet the Press.
The conditions are much more pernicious than they even appear. These guys are not just restricting the rights of self-determination to bear a child for a young woman, but they're also determining their fate as it relates to their future in life by saying they can't even travel.
The new ads are airing in Tennessee, where abortion is banned, and a proposed law would...
This is crazy, bro. It doesn't even matter. I can only imagine this is for the national campaign, because why in the world does Governor Gavin Newsom spend a dime on running ads in Tennessee when he should be putting that money towards repairing the freeways or the homelessness or the smash and grabs or the train robberies or the follow home burglaries in California? But nope, he wants you to know that in Tennessee, they're big, scary, mean, racist Republicans are gonna force a little girl to have a baby. These people are completely demonic, right? So one day, we don't even know what a woman is. It's all about non-binary trans rights. And then the next day, the Republicans want to control women's bodies. Then in San Francisco, I guess par for the course with, drawing up a resolution for a ceasefire clear across the world, San Francisco plans to apologize to black residents for racist laws. Reparations advocates want more, so of course they want more. It's never going to be enough. And I think I'm no historian, but I think we all are on the same page that there was never slavery in San Francisco. But it doesn't matter. The apology isn't enough. I mean, okay, we apologize to the blacks for the rape. What is this all about? And it doesn't even matter, because clearly the apology is not enough. They want $5 million per black resident. And I'm sure at that point in time, it will be enough. Okay, you give them a foot, you give them an inch, they take a foot. Or you give them a foot, they take a mile. I don't know, whatever it is. But it's quite clearly not going to be enough. And they say, and this has been going on for several years now. It's kind of funny how Barack Obama wasn't in charge of reparations. But they constantly are putting together these task force and these boards to research how we need, which is of course a money laundering scheme, so these weirdo government bureaucrats will get paid to think about reparations and then come back and say, no, we can't do it, let's move on. And I guess if you don't get the reparations you are demanding, then you will go back to Africa. This article says racism driving some black families to leave the United States, and they run this every couple years. It's also very strange that it comes from the mainstream media and it's okay, but imagine if Breitbart or even Fox News said something like this. It would be an absolute outrage, kind of like the Black Joy Parade. You can have that. It's all, fun and well, but if the tables were turned, it would just be a bridge too far. But if you don't get the reparations and the acceptance you're looking for, then you can just go back to Africa and take advantage of the significantly reduced cost of living and perceived lack of racism. Now, this follows the Rona pandemic and the reckoning after fentanyl Floyd's death. And the best part about this here is very simply, Ashley Cleveland, 39, moved from Atlanta to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania in 2020, but is currently based in South Africa. Wonder why. Out of all the places in Africa, all the countries you could choose in Africa, you choose South Africa because you didn't get your reparations. You didn't get the acceptance you were looking for. You are on an invisible leash. You're in an invisible box. I think Kanye West once said, yeah, why would that stop me? So yeah, I mean, the racism boogeyman is hiding around every single corner, but maybe you should just plow right through, even though he's not really there. Okay, so you've got San Francisco apologizing to the black people, but it's not enough. We want reparations. If we don't get reparations, then we're going to move back to Africa, apparently, even though most Americans haven't even been to Africa. And I'd be willing to bet that most real Africans aren't really rocking with Americans, but that's a different story. This is from Mayor Shang Tao. So while she could be using this money for reparations, which Oakland secures $3.5 million grant to enhance community safety. And that amount is still less than what the people in San Francisco are asking for every single black resident. They want $5 million, and she's got a $3.5 million grant to enhance community safety, which obviously is not going to work. It is part of the scam. Do we really think that Shang Tao is going to hire $3.5 million worth of safety ambassadors and crime is just going to drop? Obviously not. It is part of a scam, but she wants you to know this. She's posted this like 2 or 3 times already, that there's going to be enhanced community safety, because they will never for one split second say, all right, we're going to hire more cops. That wouldn't work, because they're doing this on purpose. She fired the police chief. She rejected the candidates and still has yet to hire a new police chief, because I hope I have a little bit of faith that any police chief is going to actually do police work, and she's looking for somebody who's going to bow to the mob. And that's why the OPD is putting up gender inclusive, and they're going to hire some weird fat lesbian to do the job who's going to make everything all worse. But she also says Oakland awarded $14.3 million in home key funds to create 40 new permanent supportive housing units. And if anybody thinks that this woman is going to take 14, 15, 17, $18 million and make the city better, and she's not going to line the pockets of her cronies and herself, quite obviously, is sadly mistaken, and that's why she's getting recalled. But you also have people who are never going to address this. They're not going to talk about it, so it's only going to continue to circle the drain. In more clear, obvious, blatant corruption, the Pelosi's bet on a Bay Area tech company could turn a staggering profit. The trade could yield a profit that's more than 9 times the annual salary of most members of Congress. So we're not talking about 9 times the minimum wage fast food worker who's now getting paid $50 an hour, but we're talking about members of Congress. And it is quite clear this is blatant corruption. And it's crazy for me to even say. I kind of long for these days when you just would have done a little bit of insider trading, embezzling tax funds, but now you're going out there and an 83-year-old woman is telling you that you should cut the junk off your little boy, remove the dicks and tits and send them to China. But this is absolutely wild. Her husband in that weird hammer attack, a DUI, her son dodged 7 federal charges, and now, she's just a maven. She is an absolute stud when it comes to trading. And there's also a case of, what's her name? Grisholm, the energy secretary or whatever, was completely fake. And then she actually admitted to investing in a company that, look.
I'm triggered.
These people are doing all of this right in your face, but they are so confident that nobody's going to call them out. That's why you got Fannie Willis. That's why you got Letitia James. That's why you got Tiffany Henyard, is because while they are constantly claiming no one is above the law, that literally means we're above the law. And if you guys, scam us on a PPP loan, then we're going to throw you in jail. The list goes on. But this is absolutely ridiculous. It's like, lady, you already won. Leave us alone. You're 83 years old. You're talking about turning a little boy into a little girl when you could just leave us alone. You already made the money. You already got the profits. You already have the power. Why don't you go enjoy your twilight years and leave us out of it? And, this is just beyond parody. This is Bo Jiden eating another ice cream cone. It's clearly not Choca Chip, but he hopes for a ceasefire in Gaza, and for the millionth time, I'm not exactly sure why an empty suit president in America has anything to do with the war across the world, while they're funding Ukraine, they're funding Israel, and they're funding Gaza to a little bit. And I'm no expert. Go ahead and fact check me on that. But they're, sending our money all over the place and then claiming that they can stop the war. And maybe if you want to do like a 4D chess kind of thing, this war started so that he could stop it and claim victory, and all the weirdos protesting, setting themselves on fire and blocking up traffic and say, oh, yay, Joe Biden did it. Meanwhile, he's eating an ice cream cone, and Nancy Pelosi is insider trading, and Gavin Newsom is doing pure theatrics about abortion, and these are the good guys, we're told.
Can you give us a sense of when you think that ceasefire will start, sir?
Well, I hope by the beginning of the weekend. The end of the weekend. At least my national security advisor tells me that we're close. We're close. It's not done yet. And my hope is by next Monday we'll have a ceasefire.
My hope is, as he licks his ice cream cone, my hope is by the beginning of the weekend, I mean, the end of the weekend, bro, this man can't even put a sentence together. It's so difficult to watch. I mean, how do you not just see lizard people when you look at this weirdo facelift with his hair? I mean, this is disgusting. Corn Pop was a bad dude. And as weird as it sounds, even in the 2020 campaign season, he was completely corrupt. He's totally criminal, but he actually sounded better. Now it's just like, oh, I think by the end of the week, he's having his dementia medicine, this ice cream cone here. Absolutely beyond parody. I don't know what to make of this. We all have the ice cream jokes. We all have the you ain't black jokes. We've gone so far off the rails. It's ridiculous. And this happened far too quick for my liking, right? I mean, even when I was in school in the Bay Area, in California, where a lot of these crazy radical ideas arguably come from, maybe Portland or Seattle, but it was not like this. And now they're claiming that a trans-binary, non-binary teenager passed away after a fight in the bathroom, but it wasn't even true. I mean, all of this is completely false and phony, and I can only hope that we can kick these sandcastles down. All right, leave it here. High school in 2001, top comment, not a single they, them in sight, which speaks directly to that weirdo little radical gender agenda ideologue who claims that non-binary two-spirit transformers have been around for the entire time, which is just not true. Because in 2001, even in San Francisco or New York or Portland or Seattle, the most extreme places, it wasn't a thing. And I think this is just a good little clip of nostalgia. I'm going to go ahead and mute the music because I don't want to get copyrighted. Absolutely classic. I don't want to date myself too much, but I may or may not have been around high school age at this point in time. And these people do look older. I don't think I look that old. I still look very young and strapping and handsome, but they look a little bit older than I feel like people did at that time. I don't know. The point is, this is great nostalgia. And there wasn't an iPad in every single hand. It was only, first gen iPods and, Steve Madden shoes.